Welcome to Eat Violet Travel. We are Jenny and Kevin. If this is your first time joining us, we are two Mexican Americans that decided to move from Chicago to Mexico in the year 2021.
In the beginning of the year, in January, we started by exploring our options in Veracruz. We also lived in Yucatan for a month, in Oaxaca, in Quintana Roo, and we made our way through central Mexico. We're still taking our time exploring the rest of the country and taking advantage of travel opportunities in the meantime. But along the way, we're reflecting on specific cities as potential candidates for our future home. So today we want to do the same for Puerto Vallarta. And to be fair and to evaluate our candidates fairly, we're going to be using the same 6 pillars to reflect on whether or not we want to live here.
And those are the size of the city,
Safety,
climate, food,
health and fitness,
and dancing.
If you want to see our reviews for other areas of Mexico, you can check out our Chicago to Mexico series where we've reviewed Orizaba, Mérida, Querétaro, and more cities as potential homes.
Today we're in Puerto Vallarta and we thought we were just coming on a mini vacation to Puerto Vallarta, but we've really
been here,
liked it.
We've been here 3 weeks now.
3 weeks, yeah.
A couple more weeks than planned, and we really like it. Surprisingly, I just thought it was going to be a tourist location, and I didn't think that I would really consider it as home. But that's the nice part about traveling and kind of going with no expectations. And I've heard that many expats or other foreigners live here in Puerto Vallarta, but I don't know, it hadn't really crossed my mind as an option for me, and I've been pleasantly surprised.
So right off the bat, we'll start off with number 1, and that's size. We're looking for a mid-sized city coming from a large city from Chicago. We're looking for something right in the middle, and surprisingly enough, Puerto Vallarta is a small city. It has about 300,000 people living in it. It just feels so much bigger because of the tourism and the resorts, the hotels. When they're busy, the city of Puerto Vallarta is also busy.
It has a lot to offer in terms of variety and groceries, healthcare. So a city of this size, it's also important to have good infrastructure. It's got a reliable transportation system. You got buses, 10 pesos for a bus ride. There's Uber, and taxis are great too. So, but it's also very walkable. We walk a lot. We rarely use taxis or Ubers. We use the bus mostly, and our feet. So it's very walkable, and it's pretty safe. So actually that brings us to number 2, safety. The women that we've met have told us that they feel safe walking around the streets at any time of day. People have mentioned that it's also safe to walk around at night. We've never felt any sense of danger or just unsafe, so I really appreciate that about this city.
It's nice. The only thing with safety I would say is that at night it looks a little scary because in terms of cleanliness, Puerto Vallarta lacks.
It's not the cleanest.
It's not the cleanest city that we've been to, so it makes it look a little sketchy in certain areas, mostly because people place their garbage outside in the front.
Garbage pickup is done in the streets in the front of the house, so it's very common to see piles of garbage bags, and that's a little unpleasant for me, I guess, but not like the biggest deal.
Another thing that we found very interesting and cool in Puerto Vallarta is that they have a large LGBTQ community.
And apparently it's like a worldwide travel destination for LGBTQ people, so I thought that was really cool. And in terms of, I guess while we're on the topic of safety, not only is it safe for people of LGBTQ, it's also super welcoming, super friendly. It's got a really cool vibe. There's some really awesome drag shows. It's a really cool vibe, so I thought that was cool to mention also.
The weather during our stay in Puerto Vallarta in the month of November, December was perfect. It was about 80, 85 degrees in the day and like 70s, upper 60s at night. So the weather at this time was perfect. Obviously we're not gonna go based off the weather in November and December, but it was nice, it was enjoyable. Puerto Vallarta sits on the 2nd largest bay of the world, And it's surrounded by mountains that go up to 6,000 feet.
Love
So
that.
it's fun to walk in Puerto Vallarta, and the fact that it's surrounded by mountains
Just beautiful views while you walk. We love a city that's not flat.
and hikeable. There's so many things you can do in terms of hiking. But from what we researched, overall the average temperature in Puerto Vallarta sits at a high of 85 and a low of 70 throughout the entire year, which is
Pretty consistent with what we experienced.
But the thing that we really want to investigate more is summers, because a lot of people have told us that it is super humid
Hot and
here.
humid.
Hot and humid, but what we researched doesn't really match what other people were saying, so maybe the humidity is really that high that it makes it feel really hot around here. And then winter starts in September and goes all the way up to February, and it has highs of 80s and lows of the 60s. Sometimes it could even get up to upper 50s. But overall, it's really good temperature. What you eating there?
Pineapple's good. Oh, yeah.
Moving on to the subject of food.
I love the pineapple. Well, sorry, you got me in a bad time. We love food in a tropical area because there's always an abundance of fruits and veggies. And we just love that we're having like the juiciest, sweetest pineapple right now, which we wouldn't be able to get back in Chicago in the middle of December. There's just so many fruit options and it's just so widely available. It makes it so much easier to eat healthy and delicious.
Same thing goes with seafood. There's seafood year round. There's certain seasons for certain seafoods. Oysters go from the months of the R's, November, October, September. I don't know why I went backwards, but yeah, you get the point. There's also octopus season and different fish season. I think we're in marlin season right now. So it's nice to have a bunch of different seafood options. And what makes Puerto Vallarta special for me is that it's not necessarily super south and it's not north, so it's actually right in the middle.
Mexico?
So you could what's cool about that is that you can get good meat and you can get good seafood in an area where you don't have to sacrifice
One or the other.
one or the other. And that's what's really nice about Puerto Vallarta, because we've had some really good steaks and really good seafood. So overall, I would say this is a really good location for food, just in general. So while we were in Puerto Vallarta, we lived in 3 different locations. We lived in El Centro, which is very close to the Malecón. Then we moved to El Cinco de Diciembre, and we rented that only because it was my birthday and we celebrated it there with a really nice Airbnb. If you haven't seen our video on my birthday,
Check it out.
Check it out,
It's
it's
a
really nice.
gorgeous view and it shares 3 bucket list things to do. Anyway, that's not what this is.
but then we moved out to a neighborhood further north, which is called...
Valentin Gomez Farias.
Oh, she got it.
I always get that wrong.
It's a nice small neighborhood, very local. And even here in this small neighborhood, walking around, I got to see a bunch of different restaurant options. I just seen sushi right now. There's seafood, meats, taquerias, a little bit of everything.
Oh, there's that good Los Muertos brewery right around the corner.
Yeah, and it's a local neighborhood, so they even offer all those kinds of varieties in the small neighborhood, not just in the touristy areas. So that's a
pretty cool.
huge plus. Yep.
So number 5, in terms of health and fitness, having access to good quality healthcare is important. Both of us got chronic issues that are no fun, so we've been to some doctors here and there, and we've paid a variety of different prices. You can go to any of the consultorios médicos at some of the pharmacies and pay like 45, 50 pesos, for example. But we also went to see a specialist who had his own private practice and paid about 1,000 pesos for his consult. But it was a very, very thorough consult and one of the best doctors we've seen for what we needed. So the healthcare expenses are really going to vary here depending on your needs, but the good thing is that it's very good quality. I also saw a dentist who helped me refill some cavities. She was great work, very reasonable price.
In terms of being active, well, you live in a very cool terrain, so you can go hiking, you can go check out waterfalls.
Oh, you can run along the
You can
Malecón.
run around the Malecón, you ride bikes, we've seen bike groups, we've seen the complex, el municipal de los deportes aquí en Puerto Vallarta,
They have a big sports complex.
which is really close to the Malecón, and it's a nice complex. We saw volleyball, competitive soccer, a little bit of everything, so that's really nice. And number 6, the most important one. No, not really the most important one, but it's very
But it's
important to
important.
us.
The
It's
dance scene.
dancing.
While we haven't been out dancing as much as we would like, 'cause we haven't been feeling our best, there is the presence of a dance scene, so that's good. We like to see that. There's La Bodeguita del Medio in the centro, in the Malecón, that has live salsa every day except for Mondays. So that's really cool. We met some people who are social dancers in the area and told us about other socials that are more for like social dancers and people who like to dance like for sport almost.
I found it a little interesting that Puerto Vallarta is very close to Nayarit, the neighboring state, and there's other cities like Punta Mita, San Pancho, Sayulita. So certain nights people drive from Puerto Vallarta to Sayulita, which is about 45 minutes, to go out dancing. I found that interesting. To me, that kind of means it's a very small dancing community, but it's there. But down.
Ooh, and if you bump into Son Latino, the group that
Oh, yeah.
played for Kevin's birthday, they're awesome and they usually play along the Malecón and you can totally just start dancing along the Malecón. Okay, so to conclude, would you live here?
Yeah, I definitely would. But I would want to come back for the hottest times of the year because you need to see a city when it's hot and humid the way that they say. And the whole garbage thing is a turnoff for me, a big turnoff, because if it's hot and humid and the garbage is out like that, the city's gonna smell pretty rough. But that's just an idea that I have. I don't know if it's true, but I would definitely try to live here.
I like how quickly we jumped into a routine. Like we felt very comfortable here
Yeah.
really quickly. It's a really nice balance. Like yes, tourism is very strongly present, but I like the balance of locals and tourism. So in the area that we are right now, it's more heavily locals.
But tourism is good too because tourism allows you an opportunity for business and
Yeah.
to find ways to make money where tourism is around. So that's a big plus for
It's
me.
some economic opportunities.
A lot of snowbirds just.
Much for watching. Take care. Take a shower. And we'll see you at the
It
next one.
doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't work in English.
Thank you so much for watching. Se cuidan, se vayan y nos vemos hasta la próxima. Chao.